They said I needed to get some balls. So I did what any man worth his salt would do in my situation. I hopped in my car and I drove down to Joann Fabrics and bought some balls. Or rather, I bought a bag of balls. Or, how do I phrase this better? I bought a ball sack. Or did I go to another craft store? That does not matter. The point is they did not know what they had started, what they had created. I was going to show them. I didn't just get one pair of balls. I got 6. It was a 12-pack. Now you might be thinking, 6 pairs of balls. Won't your junk get crowded? Not if you're organized. Like me. I got to work. I toiled for hours. My balls were scratchy, but it would all be fine. I stuck to long strokes. It was hot. It was sweaty. And by the end, my balls were dripping giant pools of plasma and dark matter because I crafted myself a set of sci-fi spherical anomaly objective markers for miniature gaming. What? What did you think I was talking about? Jokes aside, science fiction is full of strange and unusual phenomena like supernatural gravity wells, tears in reality, and great big balls of plasma. Well, that sort of stuff is weird and beautiful, and with much of miniature gaming leaning towards sci-fi and fantasy, it would be cool to have models of those bizarre effects. With that said, I now finally have found a use for the foam balls I bought at the craft store. Spherical anomaly models. They can be used to represent supernatural environmental hazards, flashy spell effects, or just great big balls of plasma. Well, maybe not the ones I made for this video. This batch I crafted has more of a black hole theme to it. But I like saying great big balls of plasma, so great big balls of plasma. In this video, I will share how I crafted these and some ideas for how they can be used in miniature gaming. Let's get crafting. The sphere portion of these models will be made using these expanded polystyrene foam balls. I do not use this type of foam often in crafting because of its coarse, beady texture. The foam does not need to be cut for this project, so that will not be an issue. If these are to represent supernatural phenomena on the tabletop, then they're going to have to be more than just perfect shapes sitting on the battlefield. I could use a low-profile rod connected to a base or wires connected to nearby terrain features, but I want a more flashy, creative way of elevating the spheres. I could model some arcs of lightning or bursts of plasma or some other energy and have those be the legs. A while back, I crafted some hot glue crystal scatter terrain that came out pretty cool. I decided to take what I learned from that project and make the legs out of hot glue. I found out that you can get a perfectly round strand of glue if you shoot the hot glue gun underwater. The key is to pull the glue strand out as it cools so the glue does not fold or curl upon itself. I used a dry stick to manipulate the strands underwater when making them. This technique worked pretty well, but it is probably a massive shock hazard, so don't do it. Electrical equipment submerged in water is often a bad idea. Just don't do it. Don't electrify yourself. Don't be like this guy.
I can't hold it any longer. Too weak.
You can safely make other shapes of legs by just piling on little bits of glue and frequently submerging the piece you're working on in water to lock those sections in place, and just keep adding, submerge. Repeat the process until you have the thing you are trying to make. Just a heads up, in the end I actually replaced most of these hot glue legs with another material. That was a last minute change. For now, you will see a lot of the hot glue legs. I gathered my pile of clear glue strands and then proceeded to trim out the best parts using my model clippers. I attached the legs to the foam balls with more hot glue. Any excess glue around the joints got smeared out over the foam for a messy fade out. I primed the foam and then gave each of the balls a base coat of white if the intended color scheme was going to be bright, and black if the color scheme would be darker. The process for painting each sphere started with painting the legs with a thinned paint. For some of them, I thinned the paint with matte medium. This added some translucency without making it too watery. Other times, I just added a little water, like when I painted these legs purple. After the legs of this one were complete, I started adding color to the sphere. The color scheme will be purple, red, and black. I overbrushed some swirling stripes of purple over the inky black surface and followed up with a crimson. It looks like a mysterious ball of chaos energy. Maybe it is a portal opened by a demon or a supernatural weapon that is better off forgotten. I wanted one of these spheres to be solid black, an extra coat of black paint, and this sphere is done. This could represent a black hole anomaly or, in Dungeons & Dragons, some sort of sphere of annihilation. The next two spheres started with a black base coat and then got a few layers of blue overbrushing. I started with some stripes and patches of dark blue and then followed up with a lighter blue. One sphere got swirling stripes, while the other had random patches of blue. The color schemes of these were inspired by the God particle from Netflix's show Dark, as well as the Palantir in the Lord of the Rings films. The foam feels smooth on the surface, but there actually is a faint beady texture that was enough to catch the brush when dry brushing. I was not expecting that to happen, but it created a nice effect that breaks up the streaks of blue. The last sphere was painted silver. Brush-on metallic paints do not have the best coverage. It took a few passes to fully coat this ball. This color scheme was inspired by the Implode power from Age of Mythology. In the game, it summons a metallic sphere that sucks things in before exploding. Maybe this marker could have similar rules in a sci-fi war game, so players have to give the anomaly a wide berth or risk losing their troops. I topped off the sphere with a few coats of gloss varnish to make it look polished. The other spheres were also varnished, but with a matte variety. The hot glue legs especially need the varnish. Without that strong encasing layer, the paint will quickly rub or chip off the flexible glue underneath. It was at this point that I thought I was done, but something just wasn't right. I liked the hot glue arcs of lightning on the silver sphere because they were thin. I liked the lumpy smoke plume-like legs on the chaos sphere. But the other three spheres, I just wasn't impressed with the legs. I spent some time scouring the internet for ways miniature modelers have simulated lightning and found my solution. Thin, plastic-coated wire. This stuff is so much easier than the hot glue. The wire is thin and sturdy, but bendable. The plastic takes paint much better than glue, and if you want thinner arcs of lightning, then you can use wire without a plastic coating. I clipped off the old legs, cut short pieces of wire, bent those into somewhat jagged arcs, and hot glued them in their places. I also added a few arcs with both ends connected to the surface of the spheres. Much of the color from photos of lightning seems to be a glow around the bolt itself. I cannot model a glowing cloud around the wire, but the arcs themselves should be very bright. I mixed up and brushed on a very light blue paint for the lightning arcs to complement the black and blue spheres. I ended up giving a final coat of white to the lightning of the black hole sphere to make it stand apart. In hindsight, the translucency is what mostly steered me toward the hot glue. The problem is that lightning is super bright. Unless the glue is going to be illuminated by LEDs, which is not something I plan on doing, it cannot beat a bright, opaque layer of white paint. The hot glue is still good for modeling fluid stuff like streams of molten material. It just was not useful for the lightning. These hot glue strands, they were pretty cool, so I left that whole part in the video because maybe making these sort of things will be useful for you. I don't know. Leave a comment down below if you have an idea of a better use for hot glue blob strands. Now they are done. Well, until the paint on these new lightning legs fully cures, in which case I need to varnish them. But as far as this video is concerned, these spheres are done. And that's how I crafted these spherical anomaly models for miniature gaming. These could be used as objective markers in a war game. Maybe the armies are fighting for control over the spheres because of their reality-bending powers. They could be flashy markers for environmental hazards in a post-apocalyptic skirmish game. Perhaps the scavenger party needs to avoid these gravity well anomalies as they explore a wasteland left behind by a supernatural disaster. The spheres could serve as terrain in a weird alien landscape, maybe a Lovecraftian dreamscape that the adventurers have been sucked into. These could also mark spells in a tabletop role-playing game, like whenever the sorcerer casts something like, I don't know, great big balls of plasma. They could also represent the MacGuffin of a campaign. Oh no, the demon lord Snaggletoothorix. He's obtained the balls of power. We gotta stop him. This project was a fun excuse to deviate from realism in terrain and go for something weird and unusual. I crafted a few more of these spherical anomalies, and they came out so well that they're actually getting their own video, so keep a lookout for that. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you did not, then tell me why. If you want to see more content, then hit the subscribe button and pull the lever. Witness the unbridled power of the spheres. And then pull the lever again to shut that down, because those spheres, that's too much power. It's terrifying. Have you seen what those spheres can do? They stand up off the ground with lightning and smoke. It's unnatural. No one wants that. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep making and keep playing. Have a good one. Great big balls of plasma, Batman. Snaggletoothorix wants the balls. Great big balls of plasma. Snaggletoothorix wants that. Snaggletoothorix wants those balls of power. We can't let him have them. Objective markers for miniature gaming. Spherical anomalies.